You are listening to KCOSDigitalMedia.com. Tonight we are broadcasting to you from the beautiful Open-Minded Gold Room, downtown Colorado Springs, Colorado, and it's time for The Beat Goes On.
Well, you know what? It was, as usual, we're a little bit late, but might be a little bit of weather outside, and especially for a band that comes down from Denver, and we so much appreciate the fact that you came down on a Wednesday night, and we know traffic's a nightmare. They remind us every day on the news, oh, it's past that new expansion to Monument to Castle Rock, and I don't know when that's going to happen, right? But anyway, for this particular evening, I am really excited. We've got a Wild Mountain here at America's Wild Mountain, Pikes Peak, here in Colorado Springs, Colorado. And this is something we do every week. We call The Beat Goes On, just like Ed said. And we do a interview and performance show every week. Calendar is on our Facebook page, and everything is available through the website, KCOSDigitalMedia.com. So if you know anybody that should be here, should be listening, should be watching, text them, KCOSDigitalMedia.com, and there's always, no matter how many people are in the room, there's a bunch of people listening and watching on YouTube and the station. We love the impact that we have, and especially, I got to say, thank you for doing the massive amount of Facebook promo on, like I said, sites that I had no idea even existed. So you guys are immensely into the total package of your work, I can tell. And this is our first time meeting you. I hope it's not our last time, because I hear you play at Jack Quinn's an awful lot of times.
Yes.
And
we'll actually be there on May 25th.
May 25th. All right. Yeah, that's another thing we get to is, tell
Absolutely.
us your dates. But, since we started a little bit late, and there's always somebody in the background from Canyon City named Roger Pennington that says, less talk, more music. How about doing how about 3 songs in a row just to set the tone of the show so that everyone will catch up and go, wow, I need to text people and tell people to tune in. That's what we like to do. So we'll get to the band introductions in a little bit, but I am really thrilled. Wild Mountain in the house.
Good to be here, too. Let's have some fun. 2, 3, 4. why, thank you. Well, as Mark said, we are Wild Mountain. We're so pleased to be here and grateful to be sharing tonight with our audience, both here and on the air. You know, we're going to put our feet down and our hands up. And, Andy, show me where I got to do this, buddy. Thank you. Thank you very much. Well, you know, Wild Mountain, what we like to do occasionally is we get back and we dig back into the old Irish traditional songs. We find one that we want to green grass out. We call it green grass. It's bluegrass, but we got a drummer, so we're not a bluegrass band. We're a green grass band. So this happens to be one of those songs. David over there on the banjo is going to tell us all about wanting to get married to a young lass named Molly.
When will we your eyes on Jimmy, what a fine man is he. Got your eyes on Jimmy, but you better let him be. Well, when you go, Molly-o, you'll be gone with me. When will we be married, Molly? When will we be wed? When will we be buried in the same grave? When will we be married, Molly? When will we be wed? When will we be buried in the same grave? You got your eyes on Johnny, thin Johnny V. I got your eyes on Johnny, what a fine man is he. I got your eyes on Johnny, but you better let him be. Well, when you go, Molly-o, you'll be gone with me. When will we be married, Molly? When will we be wed? When will we be buried in the same grave? When will we be married, Molly? When will we be wed? When will we be buried in the same grave? When will we be married, Molly? When will we be buried in the same grave? When will we be married, Molly? When will we be wed? When will we be buried in the same grave? When will we be married, Molly? When will we be wed? When will we be buried in the same grave? When will we be married, Molly? When will we be wed? When will we be buried in the same grave? When will we be married, Molly? When will we be wed? When will we be buried in the same grave? When will we be married, Molly? When will we be wed? When will we be buried in the same grave? When will we be married, Molly? When will we be wed? When will we be buried in the same grave? When will we be married, Molly? When will we be wed? When will we be buried in the same grave?
Oh, thank you, Molly.
Thank you.
It brings a tear to my one good eye. Being an Irish lad myself, I know, we are so, I'm thrilled to have you guys here. I know you guys were busy around St. Patty's Day, huh?
It was absolutely insane, Mark. It was, well, the month of March was just crazy. And we actually started it in Colorado Springs. We did the motorcycle car show down there at the convention center. And that was our first gig in March. So, and this is our last gig in March. So we start in Colorado Springs, we end in Colorado Springs. So
Well, full circle,
There you go.
that's will the circle be unbroken? And thank you for starting out with that multi-platinum Metallica song, Whiskey in a Jar.
yeah, we've had fun with a couple of tunes going and greengrassing them out like that. And that happened to be one it's out on YouTube, and I think in a couple months' time it's kind of surprised us because it's taken off, and I don't know, 16,000 some odd hits a month or so later is kind of crazy, but it's fun.
Oh yeah, you guys knew what you were doing. That's what I mean. You guys are a self-promoting machine. I like that, and if anybody's really read some stuff about Wild Mountain on the website, on the Facebook page, I mean, there's so much to talk about, right? You guys have got a lot of history going on, and I asked the question, I go, are you guys pretty much storytellers between the songs? And the answer was yeah, and I go, good. So, it's not that we don't like talking, but that's
Hey, it's the
your
Irish, so you
show.
got to have the blarney, right?
Well,
you have to have
do,
the
and-
blarney in between. Absolutely.
Yeah, I grew up, with that, and I'm one of those orange Irish. Okay, so we can't do the green stuff.
Sure.
It was a hard lesson when I was going to kindergarten for the first time and said, Dad, it's St. Patty's Day, I can wear green. And he goes, you're not wearing green, you're wearing orange.
There we go.
And whoever knows the story about that, yeah, you know, I don't know how many fights.
Well,
I
people
got
are
into.
colorblind here in America.
Well,
everybody's Irish on St. Patrick's
That's
Day.
right, and that's the great thing about it. St. Patty's Day, Cinco de Mayo, we're everybody, you know. Yeah, but so the direction of the interview is going to be primarily spontaneous, as it always is.
Best way.
I could always, you know, and that's it. I don't do any scripts. We do our research. We want to hear the music, but you guys throw in the points along the way to embellish the stories and the songs, and you guys are already really popular. I'd love to hear about touring stories, anything you like, but, you know, the main emphasis is on the music, and go ahead and introduce the band for one thing.
Oh, yes, we absolutely will. We did that. Well, should we do it a little bit at a time or do it all at once? Let's do a little
You
bit
know
at
what?
a
It's
time.
your
Down there on the
show.
banjo. We're going to start at the very end. Mr. David Potter on the banjo.
Yeah.
David is an award-winning banjoist. He came up from down south, down in Miami and the Florida way. Came up here to Colorado, and Renee and I met David actually at a friend's pub. We were just playing in his basement pub, and David came in with his banjo. He sat down, started playing banjo to some of our Irish songs, and we went, wait a minute. This is going to be cool. I think we can make this happen. So David Potter over there on the banjo. Here's a song. We actually wrote this on the way going down to Colorado Springs about heading down that road.
Trees of magic in the air. Headlights guide me on this open road I traveled down a long time ago. Faced a river of heartbreak, I just get back up again. Try to hundred ways to shake the picture of you in my head. Headlights guide me on along this open road I traveled down long time ago. But I keep on riding on. I keep on riding on. Ghost and some memories, scenes from another life. Things could get heavy, but I never crossed the line. Headlights guide me on along this open road I traveled down a long time Do you ever get lonely? Try to make that call.
All I wanted for so long.
Could you ever have found me? And did you care at all? Headlights guide me on along this open road I traveled down a long time ago. But I keep on riding on. I keep on riding on. through my head.
All I wanted for so long.
Smell of the pine trees, the magic in the air.
All I wanted for so long.
Clear light sky beyond. On this open road I traveled down. Long time ago. Keep riding on. Keep riding on.
Oh, thank you guys. Thank you so much. Thank you. Let me ask you a question, Mark. Have you ever had a friend or a buddy that came over to your house, stayed with you, maybe stayed a day or two too long? The welcome started wearing a little thin, or maybe it's a relative who came in and stayed a week or a month too long?
Try 6 months.
6 months, there you go.
Multiple times.
Multiple times. Suddenly you just stop feeling like a lucky soul. Thanks, guys. Are we feeling lucky?
Oh, there's no luck to this. You guys are a machine. I want you to say hello to already a couple hundred people that are watching Facebook Live.
Oh.
Yeah.
Hola.
So that's what we do. We stream on Facebook Live, YouTube, and the YouTube show is always archived on our channel, so you can spread
Excellent.
that around the world.
You let us know, and we'll promote that one too.
Well, you know what? As soon as the show's over and we
We'll
hit stop,
promote the
it's
archive.
archived.
Excellent, beautiful.
So yeah, it's the YouTube channel is called the Colorado Music Network. We took that liberty because no one else did.
There we go.
So yeah, this is what we do, Colorado music. And David's tuning, so he's doing some Chinese instead of some Irish, right?
Oh well, you know he's breaking out the electric guitar because we're about to do some electric rock and roll green grass style, and you know rock and roll green grass style is a little bit different than regular rock and roll. Still got to be green grass, you know.
Well,
But this is a song. This is a song actually called "Nothing Lasts." Remember that because. Actually, nothing lasts, especially when you're rock and rolling, you got your electric fender out, and you're tooling down the highway 100 miles an hour. You know stuff's not going to last. It's a lot of fun, but it's not going to last.
It's kind of like my age. It's like we're too old to remember.
And too young to forget. 1, 2, 3.
Speak of the devil, I think I just found gold in a dark and savage place where you're better off alone. Keep pushing forward, still fit to be tied from the blood and memories of people who just get by. Willing to leave home, a frenzy sees my soul. Awakened by the light as another plot unfolds. Keep pushing forward, still fit to be tied from the blood and memories of people who just get by. Hang the future on the past. Live tomorrow like nothing lasts. Communication from another time and place. Jack of diamonds running off with the queen of spades. Keep pushing forward, still fit to be tied from the blood and memories of people who just get by. Hang the future on the past. Live tomorrow like nothing lasts. Freedom disappears in the early morning light. Sound travels east to west in just the nick of time. Keep pushing forward, still fit to be tied from the blood and memories of people who just get by. Hang the future on the past. Live tomorrow like nothing lasts. Hang the future on the past. Live tomorrow
whipping at 100 miles an hour.
Already turning the fans up to turbo size.
That's right. It's time to turn the fans to turbo.
So how's the sound?
Very good. How's it sounding out there?
Yeah, how's
Yeah?
it sounding? Yeah.
That's Evan
Well,
on the sound over there,
we-
everybody.
We want to say thank you once again to our resident sound, Hex Audio Visual, and we want to wish our normal sound guy, Chad Martin, a speedy recovery from whatever took him to the ER today. So you got the boss here tonight. And how's the food? Everybody eating? You can get food from Springs, Orleans, delivered to your table.
Oh, yeah.
I'm actually eating tonight, which, yeah.
I know. I
It's,
noticed that. Top of the line, you got me hungry there. That looks good.
Well, you know, when you work as hard as I don't work anymore. You guys do the work, and you guys are smiling the whole time. So that's the kind of job I like.
You got to have fun all the time. You know, when the Irish, the Scottish, the Welsh first came over here, you know, they landed in New York. Some of them, actually, they ended up going to Philadelphia, most of them, because they were discriminated in New York. And when they landed in Philly, they either went down south, they went into the Shenandoah Valley, hence the bluegrass influence, the Irish and Scottish influence on bluegrass. But you know, some of them put their backs into it and decided to help build the railroad and bring it across the country. And of course, Colorado was smack dab in the middle of that. Colorado Springs, of course, being the capital of the Colorado Territory back then. So this is where it happens. And you know, I've been told this, if you go outside, if you just go out west of town here and you put your ear to the railroad track late at night, has to be late at night, you can still hear the sound of the old ghost train. 2, 3, 4.
Left St. Louis on a midnight eve, crossed Missouri like a railroad thief. Destination, the end of the line. After that, baby, I'll be fine. Union Station, fade away, riding west on an old ghost train. Kansas City, a fire in the mist, kiss of gold and an iron fist. Down the tracks, burning through the night, reach the end before the morning light. Union Station, fade away, riding west on an old ghost train. No reservation, raising Cain, no, riding west on an old ghost train. Riding west on an old ghost train. I'm riding west on an old ghost train, yeah. Wheels keep turning round and round. Across the prairie, I am thunderbound. Old Man River, still my friend. Over hills and around the bend. Union Station, fade away. Riding future, a plan to save face. Don't wanna make tonight a judgment day. Union Station, fade away. Riding west on an old ghost train. No reservation, raising Cain. No, riding west on an old ghost train. No expectation, too late to pray. Oh, riding west on an old ghost train. Riding west on an old ghost train. I'm riding west on an old ghost train, yeah. Riding west on an old ghost train. I'm riding west on an old ghost train.
Ah, can you hear that old train?
My dad sent me a shiver because I love the story and the history of all that. And just to add a little bit of twist, my Irish side came from Ireland to Canada. And so I'm a second-generation American. My dad worked on the New York Central. So, you know, the interpretations and the, you know, I just did my Ancestry.com thing. So it's going to be really cool to find all these long-lost cousins or whatever. I don't know. We're all cousins anyway, right?
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's lots of fun. You know, when I started working on some of the songs for the record, writing songs for the record, my mother, who's 95 years old now, had these old letters from my great-grandfather and my great-grandmother. And she had them stored away, and she broke them out. My great-grandfather, being from Ireland, he took the boat clear around the country. I mean, he went down around South America, and he came into San Francisco via the boat, so he didn't do cross-country. He went around that way, and he was a mule skinner in San Francisco. And then they discovered silver in Park City, Utah. And that's what brought him west, and that's where my grandfather was east. Thank you very much. That's what brought him east and into the mountains. And yeah, my grandfather born in Park City, my father born in Park City. So I pulled some of the actual lines from the letters and used them in the songs because they were classic, and just the way that they used them, the phrasings were great. Anyway, a little bit of history there.
Yeah, awesome. I love it.
Should we turn ourselves around?
I have longed to run away, leave this life unknown. Never will be coming back, never did belong. Over hills, across the sea, echoes in my mind. Just a quiet, gentle soul, wandering out blind, singing I have longed to break away, another fall from grace. All the stories I was told keep me in my place. Hidden signs asking why, harder to erase. Easier to take the plunge, leave without a trace. Singing rush through the foggy dew, burn it to the ground. Out of the dark into the light, upside can be down. Out of the dark into the light, turn yourself around. I have longed to get away across the great divide. Like a bird, a sailing fish, different land and time. Ship and anchor off the bay, take me to the shore. Find a passage from the coast, found at your door, singing rush through the foggy dew, burn it to the ground. Out of the dark into the light, upside can be down. Out of the
Thank you, guys. Thank you. Well, you know, we've been all night long. We've been taking some of these old Irish songs. Actually, that wasn't an old Irish song. "Turn Yourself Around" about coming over here, though. Turning yourself around, turning your life around. But occasionally, you know, we like to do the Irish and we like to green grass it out. But we thought, you know, let's try something the complete opposite. Let's do the reverse of that. And so we thought, well, who's the father of bluegrass? No, Stan was Bill's cousin. It was Bill Monroe, of course. And does anybody know what Elvis Presley's first hit song was? Does anybody have a clue? Because that's the name of this next song. Elvis Presley's first hit song. Okay, there's nobody here old enough to remember Elvis. I understand. That's cool. That's fine.
That we were
Actually, what we did is we took it was called "Blue Moon of Kentucky." That was the Elvis Presley song, and Bill did it real slow. He did it kind of a dirgy kind of way of doing it, and then he heard Elvis's version. Elvis, of course, pepped it up, and so Bill went back and he re-recorded it. We decided we're going to screw with Bill. We're going to screw with Elvis. We're going to go ahead and do a green grass version of "Blue Moon of Kentucky." Thank you. We had to throw that last bit in for the drummer, of course.
Yeah, they doubled that up on the time. Just sneak that right in. That's great. Well, you know, I got to say, there's already people responding on the Facebook Live, and you know, we always have musicians here come and check out other musicians, and so say hello upstairs to Mr. Ashtone himself, Charlie Searle. He's the Ashtones. It's like, you guys, I told him, you guys ought to double up and do a show. And then here, our favorite heckler from Colorado, from Canyon City, Roger Pennington, says, you guys are great.
Oh,
they play in a
excellent.
band
Nice.
called Foggiest Notion.
All right.
And you guys, I mean, we're always thinking of pairing combinations, and you know, if we ever get big enough, we're going to do if we ever get big enough, we can never get big enough. But you know, we want to start doing some more lengthy. You know, we like doing this interview and performance 2-hour show because it's usually more than most stations do. But when we get into the summertime, we want to plan some events that showcase, you know, complimentary bands, and just, there's supposed to be a grand opening here sometime, right, Nicole? Anyway, we're going to be talking about a lot of things to come. 2018, I'm sure, for everybody, hopefully is going to be a great year. I want to take just a minute and say we are missing our ladies. Annie is at home, hopefully resting, and Lisa and Laura are taking care of her. As you know, Annie's a little sick, and we had a great cancer benefit for a bunch of families Saturday at Sunshine Studios that raised a lot of money for multiple families. We are so sad that there's so much disease in the world today, and we firmly believe that music is a healing force, even when you're sick.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. You know, it's funny you mentioned that because, you know, I mentioned my mother, 95 years old. You know, she's had a rough go this past year. And I see a lot of people, and, you know, she was in the rehab facility. I saw a lot of people her age having a rough go.
Yeah.
The one thing that tied them together each time was when somebody came in and played some music.
Yes.
They came out of it. It didn't
Yes.
matter where they were. It didn't matter how deep they had gone down in. They came back out, and if they knew the words to the songs, they were doing it. So
That's awesome.
That's cool.
That's great, and you know, and that's really one of the main reasons why we do what we do too with the streaming and the broadcasting, is that people that just can't get out of the house for whatever reason, you got a family, you got kids, you can't come out, you can still watch and listen and hear the best of Colorado talent here every week.
You can always check out all of our past shows on the YouTube channel on kcosdigitalmedia.com as well.
Yeah, I mean, you guys have been doing it now for a while. You know, last year we played the Territory Days. I think it was the first time I met.
Yes, it was.
I met you from the
Yeah.
station.
That's where I ran into
And you
you
came
guys.
over, and we had just released our CD, Greengrass. And you came up and said, hey, you know, could you got a copy? We gave you a copy. And he said, well, we'd like to start
did.
playing it. And you guys were the very first station to start playing Greengrass out there. It was very cool.
Oh,
So
we
we've always
love
been a
that.
big KCOS fan.
We wouldn't be around if it wasn't for our Colorado musicians, really. And we play everybody. We play when you give us a CD, we play the whole CD. So every song gets played. We've worked our broadcasting software so there's no repeats for quite a while.
Well, cool. You know, and speaking of CDs, you know, in our little bit of advertising we had out there, we did promise to give some CDs away tonight. And, you know, it looks like we could probably give everybody a CD here tonight. So
Oh,
I
see?
think we'd like to do that. So
There's still time.
cool
You
is
guys
that?
right
you
down
guys
here.
stick around, you're going to get a free CD at the end of this show. So
Well, I better hear some people getting in their cars right now to.
Yeah, you got to get down here to the Gold Room. There's still plenty of time. Lots
That's
of show
right.
left.
We got plenty of CDs. So
You
come
came
on
from
down.
Denver. I'm sure people can get in their car right now and still make it down here.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, you know, every once in a while we do. David gets out his electric guitar. He likes to just slam away there, but then Sarah, she likes to sing something a little slower and a little nicer and a little more melodic. And then David, now he's ready to rock, but Sarah would like to. Anyway, eventually we had to come up with a compromise here, so we came up with this next song. This is a song called "Agree to Disagree."
Roots run deep, fire burns inside, sudden sweet, left of center every time, take a tumble, baby set to rumble, leaving wreckage on the beat. Stop the heartbreak, set in motion, agree to disagree. One-time shots, another way to say goodbye over noise, and then bringing on the fight. Deadly smile of a late night mystery. Stop a heartbreak, set in motion, agree to disagree. Roundhouse shake, passive to aggressive, resonate, driving love on the defensive, moonlight mind, going down in history. Stop a heartbreak, set in motion, agree to disagree. Another double, please, bartender. Maybe we'll break free. Stop the heartbreak, set in motion, agree to disagree. Stop a heartbreak, set in motion, agree to disagree.
She wins every time. I mean, that's
Every
time.
Yeah, Sarah wins. That's okay. We figured it out.
every time we sing that song.
I'm glad that everybody can agree to disagree with a smile on their face. You know? Yeah, we're in some tense times. Our last week's show, we like to do contrast comparisons. Band's name last week was Dangerous Days.
Oh,
So we went from Dangerous Days to Greengrass
there we go.
and Wild Mountain.
Nice.
You know? We like turning around happy to happy.
Well, that's just like the station. It's non-genre specific. We do all genres of Colorado music, and you can hear that 24/7.
Excellent, guys. And again, I can't thank you guys enough for stepping up and doing that for the Colorado bands, because there's some stations that are public radio stations, quote unquote, or whatever, and they just kind of have their own little playlist. It's tough. Even if you're a Colorado band and you're out there kicking it and doing it and you're staying active, you're lucky if you can get a little time on the air.
We want the world to see what really happens right here in Colorado. There's a lot more than just the Green Arrow. We have some of the best music in the world coming right out here out of Colorado.
I agree with you.
Well, you know, and that's we studied before we were on a different station for the first year of the show, and we found out that paths do part, and it took us just about a heartbeat to say let's start doing this on our own. So the difference of being a internet radio station, you know, and the low power stations, you know them all. But yeah, we picked the internet format because there's no real restrictions. We don't have to put on a garden show. We don't have to do the community service stuff, even though our mission is definitely community service. We have our friend Brian Hall from the helpautism.org group here, as always. And we'll be doing a benefit show for them in the new calendar that's being posted on the 25th. That's a fundraiser for helpautism.org. We have our own music charity called Mountain Kids. We're kind of in a little hiatus right now because Lisa and Annie and we're taking care of our own right now. But soon we'll be resuming what we do, and that's receiving instrument donations and redistributing them to needy children, finding instructors in the area to donate a couple hours of their time to teach some kids, teach some people that need some special attention. The autism group, we're forming a music therapy program for autism. I mean, it's not like we're doing anything from scratch. We're doing an awful lot of research, pulling things together, getting certifications, things like that. But there's a definite need in the community level. You know, we're not trying to take over the world with our broadcast, but we do definitely have a niche being only Colorado music. And thank God for everyone that's loving what we're doing and continuing in our third year. And once again, thank you guys. Once again, coming from
That's
Denver.
fantastic, actually. You know, we're big on helping the kids too. We do something the March of Dimes camp.
Easter Seals,
Easter
yeah.
Seals
Up by
camp.
Georgetown.
We do that once a year for the kids. You guys got something cooking for the kids? You call us. We'll come down. We'll,
We appreciate it.
Anytime,
We love it.
anytime.
We love to see the kids out dancing. It doesn't matter if they're autistic, if they've got handicap. It doesn't. They have a great time. That's what counts. That's what counts.
And that's hopefully going to happen starting the 25th. We're going to bring some families in that Autism Help Autism.
Count on
has
us.
been
Call
around
us.
for 12 years.
These guys have our phone number.
Oh yeah, we will. You know, now you're family, so you know, we'll be
very cool.
calling.
Excellent.
And thank you so much for offering, really, because you guys are such a positive image. I love that promo video that you guys shot with your calendar dates and everything. You guys are so animated, and you just see the joy exude from the band. That's what we love seeing.
Excellent, Mark. Well, that's very, very pleased to hear. I'm pleased to hear that. I get a good feeling from that.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys, and thanks for everybody who's out there watching it too. You know, let's do a song here featuring the young lady to my immediate right, shall we? Let's talk about Miss Renee Fine. I'm going to introduce Renee right now. Renee and I were in a band that was a Celtic Irish band, and we were, it was 18 years in that band. It was a band called the Indulgers. We toured all over the world. We went to Ireland, East Coast, West Coast. We had a great time. But, you know, after 18 years, everything it comes to an end. Nothing lasts, like I said a little earlier. And our lead singer, who was from Ireland, decided it was time to retire. But Renee and I, we wanted to keep going. And I mentioned we met David at a friend's pub, and we had hooked up with that. And so it was Renee and I that we said, hey, you know, let's just keep playing. It's just too much fun if we don't. And Renee's great because, you know, Renee used to play with the Bill Boulder Philharmonic. And she had never done anything like this before. She was classically trained. And we kind of pulled her into the Indulgers and said, hey, you want to try this? And she said, oh, geez, are you sure? And it changed her life. It changed our lives. She and I became musical partners. We're going on 20 years doing it now. Renee Fine, this is a song called Simply Fine.
Right.
mighty fine fiddling around for you.
Well, I gotta say, without meeting you guys first, and we were rushing through sound check and everything, I got the ladies mixed up. I thought Renee was to my left, but Renee is to the right.
Renee and Sarah.
And you know what? You are a social media monster. You were the one that introduced. I mean, there's probably 24 groups that I just. Wow, I didn't know those were around. So now we're part of them too, and
Good.
Yeah.
Get that Colorado word out.
Well, that's true, and that's the power of Facebook. No matter what anybody says, I mean, there is a tool. Use it. A lot of people are afraid. A lot of people are just adverse to it. But obviously, you guys being around and touring for so long, did you ever play Dayton, Ohio with the Indulgers?
Dayton, Ohio with the Indulgers. I'm sorry we didn't.
Okay, was it Cincinnati then?
Cincinnati we did.
Yeah, I lived in Dayton for 5 years in the early 2004 through 2009. And Cincinnati is just such a really unknown, great musical town. They have this Tall Stacks Festival every so often where it's a week of 10 bands a day out on the riverfront.
I was just going to say the place we played was on the river. I can't remember the name, but it was on the river.
Oh, man. No, you know what? Wouldn't that be a coincidence? I just love things like this that happen. It's like, wow, were you? Oh, yeah, that was you. But no, that wasn't. That's it. I went down because I've been doing photography for so long. And at the Tall Stacks Festival, gosh, there was Buddy Guy, Charlie Musselwhite, Delbert McClinton. I mean, these were all Sonny Landreth. I mean, they had a special New Orleans night. I don't know if they had a separate Celtic night, because Cincinnati really, that's a town of multicultures.
There's nothing else around. They have to come into Cincinnati.
Well, I'll get off Ohio's case, but you know what? Those were the days, right? And I'm sure.
I just remember the long drives to get there.
Oh, yeah. So, but the Indulgers, I mean, what are the chances? I mean, this is the joy and the beauty of what we do. You never know really who's coming to play for you until you really check it out. We do an awful lot in the local area. We're trying to bring more bands from all over the state, but we realize on a Wednesday night, it's kind of hard sometimes. But thank you so much once again for coming down and sharing this great music. It just puts me in a great mood.
It's our pleasure, Mark. It's our pleasure.
Maybe cold outside, but it's hot in here thanks to Wild Mountain.
That's what I did. I did a Facebook Live, and I said, don't worry about the weather. It's going to be fine right here.
It's usually the banjo player's fault. If you can have a banjo player around, you can usually turn the heater down a little bit, and save some money on electricity. So
That's right.
There you go.
It's tough to stay cold when there's a banjo guy around.
Well, and even so, I was trying to figure out the spontaneity of maybe some questioning, and right immediately at sound check, I'm going, okay, I'm not going to ask Renee, now that I know who Renee is. I'm not going to, it's the question, it's like, okay, violin or fiddle? Violin. Definitely. Oh, you're saying
Well,
fiddle?
it depends on the
Man.
time of day, Mark. If it's before 6, it's a violin. After 6, it's a fiddle.
Oh, that bipolar.
Whenever
thing
the bar
kicks in.
opens.
Yeah. She's enjoying herself no matter what. That's what I love to see is you guys are just totally into what you're doing too.
Cool. We're having a grand time here. Absolutely. Thanks again for having us down here. I'm going through the members of the band here as we go along, and I'm going to talk about you got her mixed up, but I'm going to talk about Sarah now. This was actually this next song is actually the first song that we released off of Greengrass, and one of the reasons we did is because Sarah did such a fantastic job. Sarah was in a group called Celtic Friends. It was a vocal group called Celtic Friends. And at the time, Renee and I, we still had the Indulgers. We were still doing the Indulgers. But I got together with 23 different Celtic musicians from the Rocky Mountain area. And we put together an orchestra called the Rocky Mountain Celts. And we started off with a Christmas song. I'd written a Christmas song. It was just too big for the Indulgers. I needed to have a bunch of vocalists and things. And so we got 5 different bands in with their musicians. It came to 23. We had cello and violins and banjos and mandolins and just everything. It was a lot of fun. Sarah was one of the vocalists that came in, and quite frankly, she stood out. She was there. So when it came time to do a second song for the Rocky Mountain Celts, the first song I had switched it around, and each individual in each band, the lead singers got an opportunity to sing a vocal line. The second song was supposed to be the same kind of way, but Sarah came in, she sang the whole song, and then she left, and then I got other people in to come in and sing, and quite frankly, every time I took her voice out, the song kind of flattened out to me. So it ended up, everybody else took a back seat. Sarah came up front. She started singing. When we got together with David and we decided that, you know what, we've got something here with this green grass stuff that's going on, Sarah came in and we did a song together, and it worked. The magic was there. She's got a 3-octave range. She's a tremendous singer. I think probably one of the best, if not the best vocalist in Colorado, flat out. You'll never get tired of her voice. This is a song called
Mike.
Rain and On the Run.
A menstrual calling is never done. Works in rain and on the run. A menstrual dream is not a sin. It's where it's going, not where it's been. There's a saying down below. Trust in luck and who you know. A menstrual calling is never done. Works in rain and on the run. Out on the mountain, covered with snow. Across the desert, down below. A menstrual game plays hand by hand. It's what he's thinking, not where he stands. There's a saying down below. Trust in love and who you know. A menstrual calling is never done. Works in rain and on the run. In this ghost town of yesterdays, cross the junction from today. A menstrual life will never fade. It's where he's going, not where he stays. There's a saying down below. Trust in luck and who you know. A menstrual calling is never done. Works in rain and on the run. There's a saying down below. Trust in luck and who you know. A menstrual calling is never done. Works in rain and on the run. Works in rain and on the run. Rain and on the
Yeah, Sarah Jones, everybody.
Thank you.
And I am loving this show. How about you, Mark?
Well, of course, you this is another thing. Like, you cannot be Irish and listen and not appreciate it. You know, we're just Irish by the grace of God, right?
There we
You
go.
know, and God invented whiskey so Irish wouldn't take over the world, right? As Mr. Hefner over there knows, yes, we do have Jameson at the bar, I'm sure.
Yeah, you gotta have a little of the brown stuff. That's right. The brown stuff works. Doesn't matter, Jameson or Guinness, either one. As long as it's that color. Well, you know, it wasn't. It was about 200 years ago. It was very, very easy. If you were Irish, if you were Scottish, if you were Welsh, it was very, very easy to get a one-way ticket to Australia. It was free. It was cheap. One-way ticket to Australia or Tasmania. Of course, they called it Van Diemen's Land back then because it wasn't Australia. And Van Diemen's Land was a penal colony. So you didn't actually want to go there. It's a lovely place to visit now. I mean, you'd love to go there, do some playing and all. But back then it was hot, it was miserable, and like I said, if you were Scottish, Welsh, Irish, it didn't make any difference. You could steal a loaf of bread and you could be put on the boat to Van Diemen's Land. It was that easy. They needed folks. This is a song about a young lad who was sent to Van Diemen's Land, and by God, he wishes he was back home in Derry. 2, 3, 4. Derry.
You know, I love your interpretations of chronological mysteria, maybe we should say, because, you know, it's funny how much we've forgotten in the last maybe 150 years of our history. And you lightheartedly elocuted it very well. I got to say, the Scottish side of my family came from Scotland through Ellis Island. But I, too, I have my grandmother's letters of family delineations and, you know, all this talk about immigration reform now. I'm not going to get political one bit, but I got to say, one thing that was noted in my grandmother's lineage, our name was McMillan, and it was spelled 5 different ways. And there was no way that at Ellis Island someone was checking driver's licenses, you know?
That's right.
So I think we should all just lighten up and enjoy the differences that we all bring to each other.
Absolutely.
It's the blend. It's all in the blend. Nothing wrong with a good blend, eh?
Well, until it comes with single malt, you know, you got to be pure to that.
There we go. I like that. Well, you know, I would be amiss if I didn't talk about the rhythm section back there. You know, we've got 2 fine young lads that kind of hold down the basis for all of this green grass stuff that we're doing. You know, if it was up to the banjo player, the fiddle player, and the guitar player, we'd be flying all over the place, but these guys kind of anchor us down back there. And I was really fortunate. We were looking for a drummer, you know, and gosh, you know how hard it is to find a drummer. And I wanted a different drummer. I wanted somebody who was different because we didn't want a regular guy banging away on the drums and tom. This isn't the kind of music for that. You know, we wanted somebody who was a little bit different. I was thinking more along the lines of a bluegrass percussionist. There is no such thing, but I just, in my mind, I was saying bluegrass percussionist. Well, you know how fate sometimes just deals you a nice hand. Well, it just so happened that the house right next door to me became available, and this is where our recording studio is located as well. And this fella moved in next door, and he heard these guys working up their songs, and he and his wife came over and kind of became acquainted, and lo and behold, Mr. Andy Maroney back there on the drums was a fine drummer, and he was right next door. How about that? My next door neighbor. I didn't have to go any further than next door to find somebody, which is just totally amazing.
Oh, that's great.
So,
now, is that a clan name, Maroney?
Maroney, Andrew Patrick Maroney.
Andrew Patrick
No, I mean,
Maroney.
is that a clan name? Like I say, McMillan and okay,
Hey,
because
you find him a clan, he'll join it. Andy's a big joiner.
yeah. No, I got to say, I walked into an Irish bar in Cambridge, Massachusetts one day, and they had the clan chart on the wall. And of course, after about 6 Murphys, I was going, "Where's mine?" You know? And it's just amazing, you know, to go into the historical lineage of the clans. And you know, some of my names, you know, McMillan has a clan name. Manley has a clan name, Manley. But so I used to work in England a lot during the 90s, and I was trying to make friends with the people I was working with through the course of the 11-year project, and they're still very different about things. You know, you know the history of the potato famine and why the Irish Protestants are called Protestants and not Protestants, but the other name, White. I said, well, that's an English name, right? And they go, no, that's a Celt name. And I go, man, okay. So we were having discussions about the problems, social problems of the diversity of America. And I said, look, we're all Caucasian right here, and we're arguing about, you know, Caucasian lineage.
That's right, pronunciations.
Yeah.
Sometimes it doesn't make that much sense. Well, you know, we so like I said, we were fortunate enough to kind of bump into Andy just incredibly right next door. And so we were searching for the bass player, for the right bass player. We had to find the right guy. And just so happens I've got 2 young lads, 2 young strapping lads. They're both musicians as well. And one of them happened to be playing in a band with Joseph Mall back there on the bass. And I had known Joe for quite a while, and just watching him play with my son and his bands and all. And so when the offer was presented, Joseph said yes. And when we had Joseph and Andy behind us, suddenly, well, it made sense because it's important to have friends. You know, they'll support you. You go to an Irish pub, you go to an Irish bar, you go to a ballroom, doesn't make any difference. You take a couple of, you got the Jameson going, you got the Guinness going. You start feeling it. It's nice to be able to hold on to somebody. You know, you can reach over and put your arm around somebody, and it makes a big difference. And so, hence the name of this next song, Hold On To You.
I was only a rover, Jack of many a trade was I, friend of every brother. I could never be satisfied, I could never be bothered. Life was shaking me by the hand, I was shaking back harder. On the road to destruction, and night for a night. Days coming up nothing, but I kept them inside. Turn around, and you made it right. So go ahead and fall down, and I'll be by your side, 'cause I will hold on to you. I will hold on to you. In 1979, I was thinking over, maybe it's time to settle down before I get much older. I could never be mystified, I could never be bothered. Life staring me in the eye, I was staring back harder. On the road to destruction, and night for a night. Days coming up nothing, but I kept them inside. Turn around, and you made it right. So go ahead and fall down, and I'll be by your side, 'cause I will hold on to you. I will hold on to you. Ooh, I will hold on to you. I will hold on to you. Ooh, I will hold on to you. I will hold on to you. Ooh, I will hold on to you. I will hold on to you, and you, and you. Hey!
Hold on. Time to hold on. Well, you know, I mentioned we have a new album. It's been out a year now. And actually, we have a brand new EP, which we soon will be releasing. The album was called Greengrass, the kind of style of music that we're doing. This EP that we're soon going to be releasing, actually, we took some of the old Irish traditional songs we've been doing and greengrassing them out, and we cut an EP, 6 songs of those songs, just the old Irish traditionals. And we started Whiskey in the Jar was the first release off of that. There's another one called When Will We Be Married that's also a video that's out on YouTube that people can go and visit. And these are off of the EPs. But in going back to Greengrass, again, we were putting the concept together. And this is actually the very first song on our first CD. This is a song called Stone, Blood, and Bone.
take him home. There's dust and fury in the wind that never one to turn and run, standing round whatever comes, facing fear with eyes ahead, chancing he might wind amid of stone, blood, and bone, of stone, blood, and bone, of stone, blood, and bone, of stone, blood, and bone.
Thank you. Thanks, guys.
So, how much more music than the Greengrass album are you holding out on us with?
Boy, you know, actually, when we did Greengrass, when we recorded Greengrass, we have a recording studio and a video studio up in Denver. And I wrote 28 songs. And out of the 28 songs, and we were doing them all. We were playing them all, we recorded them. And we got a focus group together, about 35 different people, and we gave the 28 songs to the focus group, and we said, pick your 14, the ones that you have, because we had a rough time. We couldn't pick our 14 songs. So they went through, and actually we just kind of put the album together off of the first focus group. We have a second album that's already in the can. I mean, we're just kind of sitting around, and we've been adding to that. But along the way, like I said, right around Christmas time, we came up with the idea of we were doing some of these old Irish songs, and people were just really digging what was going on, the way we were turning them around and kind of bluegrassing them out. So we thought, hey, why not release them? And so that's what we did. We went in and we just cut it live. We set up in the studio. We just cut the thing live, just like we'd be doing it in our show. And then we went out and started cutting the videos and shooting the videos and things. And as I mentioned, Whiskey in the Jar was the first one. You can get out there and you can see that one. So, yeah, so we do have some backup music. We've got about 4 hours worth of music is what we've got.
Oh, I know. That was one of the questions. Well, we got about 4 hours of music. How many do you want us to play? And usually, you know, when we take great pride in giving new bands a voice on the stage, streaming live on our forum. But, you know, it's great. Sometimes you got to say, okay, can you fill up a 2-hour show? You know, and it's like, well, if not, we still put them on and we do a little bit more talking. You know, it's refreshing. You guys, this is the way we pattern the show. It's like we say, it's like kind of like VH1 storytellers, and normally when the ladies are here, it's more like Mystery Science Theater 3000, you know, with the three little people at the table critiquing and joking around about the guests. No, we're lovingly joking around because you guys have been a lot of fun. This has been a great time. It's a good opportunity to get to know the band.
Oh, thanks so much.
Get you guys back down here more often.
Oh, we love Colorado Springs, and of course, as we mentioned earlier, we're going to be at Jack Quinn's. We usually do Jack Quinn's about once every other month or so here. You know, you got to come down and get Irish in Colorado Springs every once in a while. And I think we're scheduled for Territory Days.
Territory Days, May 28th.
Yeah, we'll be there.
On Memorial Day, we will be here in
So we'll
Colorado
be down
Springs.
here for
Okay,
May
okay.
28th,
We're usually down there at Territory Days, and we're covering
Beautiful.
our family of bands all the time. So yeah, stay in touch. Let us know what's happening, and we'll be there.
Well, before you go on,
Yes.
I think we need to introduce the one that's been talking most of the time here. The man with the plan, Mr. Mike Nile.
Yeah.
And, you know, I guess I can do a little introduction. So all the songs that we've been talking about, actually, Mike has wrote all of them. He gives us, you know, the bass line of, you know, I get a bass vocal part, and there's a bass Renee part, of a violin part, and so on. And then we all get to come in and put our own spin on things, and then, yeah, our interpretations. But We couldn't do it without him, that's for sure.
Thanks. It really helps when you've got excellent musicians behind you, too. Let me tell you. Big difference.
Well, that is the key, you know, having a great group of people and, you know, having that focus sure doesn't help. That not getting in the way, you know. There's everybody, I mean, even we're a 5-person LLC, and, you know, we go back and forth, and we have all these great ideas, and sometimes, you know, it gets a little heated, but we end up doing what we do, and it's all worth it in the negotiation process for the final product, you know?
You finally agree to disagree.
Well, you know, and even if we disagree,
Hey,
we
we
still
already did
do
that.
it, you know?
Exactly.
We have a democracy in the LLC, so.
That's cool. That's excellent. Well, we've got a bit of a democracy, and one of the things that we do in our democracy, we keep our eye on the banjo guy because he's the left winger over there in our democracy. He's always on the roll. Banjo guys are always on the roll. They're always, you know, they're moving. They're going down the road. They're taking long journeys. They've got $2 bills. They got $10 shoes. They got, I mean, these banjo guys. Fortunately for us, though, when David rolls, he does like to roll with his sweet baby.
I ain't gonna work on that railroad. I ain't gonna work on that farm. Lay around that shack till that mail train comes back. Roll in my sweet baby's arms. Everybody. Roll in my sweet baby's arms. Roll in my sweet baby's arms. Lay around that shack till that mail train comes back. Roll in my sweet baby's arms. Pick it out. I can't see what's the matter with my own true love. She done quit writing to me. She must think I don't love her no more. Well, ain't that a foolish idea? Roll in my sweet baby's arms. Roll in my sweet baby's arms. Lay around that shack till that mail train comes back. Roll in my sweet baby's arms. Her name's fine. Now sometimes there's a change in that ocean. Now sometimes there's a change in the sea. Yeah, sometimes there's a change in my own true love, but there's never no change in me. Roll in my sweet baby's arms. Roll in my sweet baby's arms. Lay around that shack till that mail train comes back. Roll in my sweet baby's arms. Where were you last Friday night? Right here. I was locked up in jail right here in Spring. Yeah. Walking the streets with some other man. Wouldn't even go my bail. Here we go. Roll in my sweet baby's arms. Roll in my sweet baby's arms. Lay around that shack till that mail train comes back. Roll in my sweet baby's arms. Pick it out. Here we go. Roll in my sweet baby's arms. Roll in my sweet baby's arms. Lay around that shack till that mail train comes back. Roll in my sweet baby's arms. One more time. Roll in my sweet baby's arms. Roll in my sweet baby's arms. Lay around that shack till that mail train comes back. Roll in my sweet baby's arms. I said, lay around that shack till that mail train comes back.
Oh, it's
Thank
that
you.
banjo guy. Watch out.
And that's a familiar tune for a lot of us too, right?
Got to do it for the banjo lovers out there.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Oh, good. There are a couple here. That's great because
Well,
we
you
get
know-
jokes. We get jokes like, "What's the definition of a successful banjo player?" Banjo player who has a wife with 2 jobs. So we don't want, it's nice to have some fans out there.
Yeah, and I went to high school with 3 guys that it turned out to be banjo players, and it's like they're still playing banjo. One's in Modesto, one's in, well, they're still kind of all in California, but we always joked with them. It's like we were all into doing, rock of the late the period, and it's like banjo just kind of didn't. It's like, well, can you make electric and can you
Put it through a
bend the
fuzz tone?
strings and put effects on them? But you know what? It's a time honored instrument with whatever interpretations. Same with fiddles. I was just talking to Charlie. It's like, we really do in the state of Colorado have a lot of really amazing female violinists. And
Yes,
thank you so much for sharing your talent, Renee. And so what I was talking to Mr. Ashtone about is we know this fine fiddle player in Wirewood Station. You might have heard of them. Michelle Edwards, she's from Nashville, and she was classically trained too, but she can get down and, and then we just met a high school student, 18 years old, who was going and doing her auditions for Berkeley, and she made it. But her name's Mia Asano. She's going to be doing her senior recital at the Oriental Theater in Denver, April 15th. You guys might want to check that out because she's really good. And, the effect, I guess the impact of the violin is international. If you've traveled around a lot, And so Mia is in a band called Nordic Daughter. So it was, kind of the Viking Norse kind of theme, but it just fits in so well, and you never know where you're going to find violinists with such talent. We have one right here in town. Her name's Harriet Landrum. She goes by My Name is Harriet. That's her stage moniker. And she does a lot more processing on her violin, but the creativity levels are just amazing for, anyone that really is into their instrument, right? We love it.
I'm just blown away by the talent in this state, period. I mean, it's just amazing what we have going on in Colorado.
Well, after, I think it's almost like, show number 170 or something like that. We've been blessed, and every show has just been more than we even anticipated, and pleasantly so. So what happens with these videos, especially the performances on YouTube, they go on and on and on, and they steamroll and snowball, and the views just keep going. So after the show is over, you can use that video to your heart's content, share it around the world, do whatever you want. We can cut it up, whatever you want to do. But really, this is the joy of what we do is, we have you guys come down, and you guys get to do whatever you want. Because I know some people say, well, some of these, okay, this is like a great practice for us. What do you think about doing shows like this? I mean, it's not really a performance. It's not really a concert. This is a radio show. It's an interview. But, God, the music that comes out of these things, we couldn't be happier every week to do this show.
That's fantastic. You guys do that. Absolutely, Mark. And you're right. It's a different way of connecting. The people that aren't here tonight are still connecting, hopefully, with us through the media. So God bless the media in some instances, right? Others you feel like, let's kick it off the stage, but sometimes it works really, really well.
So, we're at this point of the show where, man, 2 hours is almost like over.
Yeah,
And
witching hour is coming close, isn't it?
Well, and since we started a little bit late, I was going to say, how about if you want to do like 2 or 3 more in a row for the grand finale?
Yeah.
We can do that.
We're just going to wind you up and let you go.
Actually, we'll do a couple more. We would like to do. We've got a special one we're going to end with. But we'll do a song right now that again, this is off of our album Greengrass. And this is a song called Dust, Wind, Smoke, and Fire.
Hand me down my walking cane. Go round once and maybe twice the same. What was good suddenly feels like games and a burning rush of yesterdays like dust, wind, smoke and fire. Wicked waves, two-faced liars. The law in the order should apply for one another. Innocence fades and the deeds get done. Forbidden trust under a midnight sun. Dust, wind, smoke and fire. Wicked waves, two-faced liars. Dust, wind, smoke and fire. Guilty when desired. Harmony between earth and sky. Let the children sleep tonight. Dying ways, days pass by. Dates will change with the morning light. All of the dice on a moonlight ride, set in constant motion, no end in sight. Dust, wind, smoke and fire. Wicked waves, two-faced liars. Dust, wind, smoke and fire. Guilty when desired.
Thank you. Hey, David, what happens when somebody comes at you right away and you got somebody coming on the left side, you come in on the right side, they want something and you're doing your very best to keep up. Have you ever felt overwhelmed?
I have, yeah, I do.
And what do you do in that particular case? Do you have a little theme song you can go to for us on this?
You know,
You mean when you just can't,
I can't take it anymore sometimes.
you can't take it anymore?
It just kind of gets to me every once in a while, and I don't know.
Well, tune up that
you know,
banjo and then let us have
Sometimes it's, when you agree to disagree after so many times, I'm always wrong, and then, I just
it.
can't take it anymore,
Can't take it anymore?
We're not gonna take it. We're not gonna take it. We're not gonna take it anymore. We've got the right to choose, and there's no way we'll lose it. This is our right, and this is our song. Here we go. We're not gonna take it. We're not gonna take it. We're not gonna take it anymore. Your life is trite and jaded, boring, confiscated. If that's your best won't do. We're not gonna take it. We're not gonna take it. We're not gonna take it anymore. Renee, fine on the fiddle right now. so condescending. Your goal is never ending. We don't want nothing, not a thing from you. We're not gonna take it. We're not gonna take it. We're not gonna take it anymore. We're not gonna take it. We're not gonna take it. We're not gonna take it anymore. One more time. We're not gonna take it. We're not gonna take it. We're not gonna take it anymore. I said we're not gonna take it anymore.
When the banjo player gets frustrated, that's what we do. Hey, we have had such a grand time tonight here with KCOS. Thank you so much, guys. Anytime we can help you out, don't hesitate. We are a phone call away.
We were already scheming on you, my friend.
All right.
I'm thinking they got to come back next year for sure.
Well, you know, and that's what we do. We like to have recurring appearances by our favorite bands, and boy, there's a bunch of them. But you know what? Yeah, you're welcome to come back next year, and
Thank you so much.
you know, anytime that we can get the green and the orange together and have a great time, and looks like you've been entertaining almost 500 people throughout the 2 hours.
Excellent.
How
Good.
about that?
That's just on
Thank you,
Facebook. There's
everybody.
many more on
Supporting local
YouTube.
radio too, as well. That's,
Yeah.
So yeah, a little weather, it's not going to make anybody melt, but you still got fans, and I'm sure you're going to get a whole lot more. So we encourage everyone to hit the like button on Wild Mountains Facebook page.
There we go.
Find the CD. If you're not here, unfortunately, to get one right now, they're available
Online.
Everywhere.
everywhere. Okay, are
Yeah,
they?
Spotify, iTunes,
Amazon, CD Baby.
WildMountainGreengrass.com, our website. Just
Yeah.
anywhere and everywhere. And don't forget, everybody, we're going to give everybody a CD here
You
tonight.
can actually
so-
buy them directly from KCOSDigitalMedia.com's website.
You know, yeah,
There we go.
we didn't really talk about that, and we don't really talk about that. But if you look at the station on your browser or any way you connect with us, if you see a shopping cart next to the song that we're playing, and you have included all your metadata to do so, there's no pass-through from our website. It goes right to whatever your point of sales goes.
great.
So we would like to hope to think that, yes, we might influence some positive benefits coming your way by playing your music. And, you know, that's, like I say, it's our mission, is to export Colorado music to the world. And we welcome everybody's comments that we're going to go over them tonight. We always, you know, I don't know about you, but after a show, it's like, I can't go to bed till like 1 o'clock in the morning. Because I'm
Wound up,
just
absolutely.
going through the metrics and statistics and everything. But you got one last song?
We do. Actually, we're going to end this song with the very first concept song that we put together for Greengrass.
Beautiful.
We were trying to merge the two together, and actually, David had been messing around playing an Earl Scruggs song, and I went to bed with that song in my head. And what is the most popular Irish song that you can probably think of? Every American probably knows this. It has to be Danny Boy.
Yeah, it
And
does.
so I started thinking somehow or another Danny Boy ended up, Earl Scruggs was in my brain, and Danny Boy was there too. And the next morning, this kind of came out, and we ended up recording it. It's out there on YouTube. This is a song called Danny Boy Breakdown. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you
Yeah,
so much.
thank
We've
you.
really
Yeah,
enjoyed
we really
being here
appreciate that.
tonight.
Oh, Danny boy, the pipes are calling from glen to glen and down the mountainside. the pipes are calling. Glad to blend and down the mountainside. Summer's gone and all the roses falling. It is you, you must go and I must find. Please come back when summer's in the meadow, when the valley's hushed and white with snow. I'll be there in sunshine or a shadow. Danny boy, Danny boy, Danny boy, I love you so. When you come, the flowers will be dying. If I'm dead as I will be, come and find the place where I am lying. Kneel and pray, saying I'll pray for me. I will hear your soft tread above me. All my dreams will warm and sweet of thee. Do not fail to tell me that you love me. I will sleep until you come to me. Danny boy, the pipes are calling. Glad to blend and down the mountainside. Summer's gone and all the roses falling. It is you, you must go and I must find. Might call me back when summer's in the meadow, or when the valley's hushed and white with snow. I'll be there in sunshine or in shadow. Danny boy, Danny boy, Danny boy, I love you so. Oh, Danny boy, Danny boy, I love you. Danny boy, Danny boy, Danny boy, I love you so.
Thank you so much, guys. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. This was just a fun night. And what a beautiful voice. My God, Sarah. I'm
you.
glad you guys actually sped up because it was like the intro. I'm going to go, God, am I going to start crying? You have to, if you're Irish, you have to cry for that song. But
Oh yeah, the other group I sing in, actually, I do a different, slightly up tempo of Danny Boy, but still more to the traditional way. And I've gotten people to cry before, for sure.
Well, we definitely, we hope the weather's good enough for you guys to make a safe return home. Thank you so much for coming down once again. And like I said, for those that are here tonight, they're going to get the special bonus CD.
That's right.
Yeah, stick around for that.
Yeah, follow them on Facebook. Watch the YouTube video again. Shove it around the world. I know you guys have got the worldwide connections. Just have a great time with what you do and continue to do so after 20-some years. You guys are just amazing. I mean, what an institution.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bringing joy
Thank
to
you so
everybody.
much.
Funnest place to be every Wednesday is right here at the Gold Room.
Well, that's what the last thing I wanted to say is, since it's the end of the month, we have a whole new April lineup, and of course, the short version is go to our Facebook page and check out the event calendar. But I'll just go over real quick. We've got 4 shows, and there are a very wide variety of shows this month. Saboteur is a really great metal band from Pueblo. They do original music, and then they also have a Rock Never Dies tribute side to them. Very versatile. 2 female singers that, one of them, Marie Ellum, is actually recognized by Westward for one of the finest female vocalists in the metal realm a few years ago. But yeah, tune into that one. The 11th is a band that I've just really fell in love with. They're a very, how would you say? I don't know. Ethereal is the word. They're an indie band that is just captivating. A band called Witch Hands, and that's been a project of Aaron Hernandez, who's done other things for a while in this town, and he's lining up the Goth Fest for sometime in July at Sunshine Studios. I think maybe we can let out a secret that we might be involved in that one. The 18th is a double bill, which we don't really do, but it was a special occasion. We're having a birthday celebration for Josh Behrens of Elevated Sickness. And it just so happens that the second band, Channel 27, is fronted by actually the first producer of the Beat Goes On show in the first year, Eric Madrid. And he's moving back to California. So we're doing a double bill to say goodbye and have a birthday party. The 25th of April is a blues band from up north called the Custom Shop, and it's the anchor band for our fundraiser for helpautism.org. We'll be having a lot more details about that. Just keep track of the event pages on our Facebook page. Got a shout out to the Ashtones, and Miss Alyssa Ruffin came in under the radar. She was scheduled for a show to show off her solo prowess. She's been all over around here lately, sitting in with open mics, doing her own thing, pairing up with, your story's coming. You're what, in June now? We had to do an 83 show in June, but we're going to reschedule Alyssa to come in and really show off her vocal skills, which we've already witnessed with the Ashtones and various other places that we've seen her. Very talented lady. So we are actually booking September and October, and we're really lucky that I don't have to beg anybody anymore, to come do the show. In fact, we got there's a new bar in Wheat Ridge. Things evade me right now because it's just initial contact.
Violet's Venue.
There you go, Violet's Venue. So Violet reached out to me and said, hey, I'm going to have a battle of the bands. And how about if, for the sponsorship portion of what we would do is if the winner would come and do a show. So I think we're on for that one.
Cool.
Good.
You know, we love spreading the Colorado sound, first of all, around Colorado. I mean, we've got people in Grand Junction, Fort Collins, Pueblo, Trinidad, all over the state contributing music. And we think, you know, we get a couple emails. Well, we get about 3 or 4 a week offering up music. So that's another reason why we don't have any DJs. We want to make sure everyone is equitably played in rotation. So we've worked the broadcast software that way. Tune in 24/7. It's really, we do our metrics every once in a while. We get surprised by the demographics. From the 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. portion split in two by midnight, it's like 60% of our listenership. So I know we're being heard in Europe. You know, if people are listening at 4 in the morning, you know, we're just pleased to be doing what we're doing. And we want to thank everyone that's participating, that's coming, that's supporting, that's sharing. If you have anything to do with us at all, we love you. And once again, thanks so much for
Thank you,
coming
Mark.
tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, we can give them a bigger hand than that, right? Yeah. All right.
Thank you, guys.
Wednesday at 7 o'clock, Shadow Man always does the closing benediction.
This has been another wonderful session of The Beat Goes On. Tonight's special guest was Wild Mountain. I hope you enjoyed it as much as we did. And you can hear Wild Mountain on KCOSdigitalmedia.com throughout the day. Just tune in on your browser. Be sure to check out the YouTube channel. You can find all of our past shows, lots of events, fundraisers throughout the state. And we also have what we call Colorado Metal Shop, 10 p.m. to 2 a.m., Monday through Friday. Colorado's heaviest metal right here in one place. So stay tuned to KCOSdigitalmedia.com.
And Sunday is 24 hours of blues. Who else does that?
It's a great thing on a Sunday.
Thank you all for coming.